Good morning, everyone. So let's start with the sixth part of module 5. So we have already covered WDM network, different protocols like OSI, TCP/IP for optical networks, asynchronous and synchronous networks like SONET, SDH, and ATM. Uh, and we have also covered the most important part of WDM networks, that is the routing and wavelength assignment. So now in this lecture, we're going to see what are the different optical switching networks. So there are different switching networks, but four of them are mentioned in your syllabus. So we'll concentrate on those. Two of them are ones which you are already aware of because they come from the electrical multiplexing background, which is circuit switching and packet switching. And then there is multi-level protocol switching, and lastly the burst switching, which is also there in the electrical domain, but we are going to talk about the optical domain. So what is this switch? So a switch basically in an optical network will represent a dynamic element, and it can switch data between different ports of a network. Uh, with electronic switching, compared to that, your optical switching can be in two categories, like I said, circuit and packet switching. And this switch will perform digital logic operations and will allow the signals to switch from one state to the other state. And you can have large arrays of these switches, which can switch the signal from one port to the other port. And these arrays are what are known as the optical cross connects, which we have covered previously in the same module. A router, if you compare with the OXC, will route the data packets instead of providing any. And in this case, your data can be split into packets, and these packets will be routed separately through the network. And then at the receiving end, they will be assembled uh, in the form of the original message. So this kind of a technique, which is known as packet switching, is obviously more efficient in the use of the bandwidth. So these techniques of circuit and packet switching are basically used in high capacity networks, and we know that a fiber network is a high capacity network. So in a circuit switched network, connection will be set up between transmitter and receiver before any transfer of data occurs. So there is a pre-establishment of the setup. However, the problem here is since you have a dedicated connection between the transmitter and receiver, if the transmitter has nothing to transmit, then that dedicated connection goes to waste. Right? So an example of this kind of switching is your SDH and SONET. Right? So obviously this is not an efficient way of using the resources. Therefore, there should be a technique where if you have data to transmit, you get the resource. If you have no data to transmit, you can share the resource. So that exactly is what is written in the last point. The network resources can be reallocated without being distributed in the circuit. So this will make the network more dynamic. So once the complete message will be successfully transmitted, then the connection is removed. That's the case if you have a circuit switch network. And this kind of a network will require end-to-end circuit to be set up between the transmitter and the receiver. And the signal, the request signal or the acknowledgement signal will travel from source to destination or destination to source. And this is required before the transmission will begin. That means the setup has been established. So this is the diagram for an optical circuit switch network. You can see there are 6 nodes A to F, and these are interconnected, and there is a logical connection or path of for optical signal wavelength. So you have lambda 1, which is established, producing a circuit path through A, B, D, and F. The optical nodes in this kind of a network, the circuit switch network, they will contain optical switches and large multi-port optical switches or switching fabric, or an OXC, they are one and the same. They will be used to establish connection between the input and the output ports. So different components will enable the technology, and this can be used to construct the optical switches. So you can see in the figure the functionality of nodes P and D. So if you look at node B and D, the dotted lines and then circles are made on top. So that is exactly showing the functionality of these nodes. So you have a 2x2 optical switch at node B, and this enables cross connection using ports 2 and 3. whereas your node D will employ a direct connection between node 1 and for ports 1 and 3. So there is a difference between them, but the similarity is that both the nodes are having a 2 cross 2 switch. In one of the nodes you have a cross connection, whereas in the other node you just have a direct connection. So you can have a logical path on an optical circuit from node A to F, and this is created for light path using one signal wavelength lambda. So what is to be noted here is that the switch can handle traffic from both SDH SONET or IP networks, but the limitation is that only service signals can be used. The available can use the available network resource. The resource here will be the path and the wavelength. So additionally, you also need to ensure that wavelength continuity constraint is followed, which implies that this one wavelength should be available on the paths of the network, and this will obviously limit the flexibility of these networks, as light paths need to use the same wavelength to carry traffic from source to destination. But if you use wavelength conversion, as we have discussed previously, you can overcome or reduce this wavelength continuity constraint, and this can be put at any ports of the optical nodes to change the incoming wavelength to any available outgoing wavelength. So these kind of networks, the circuit switching networks, they are basically suitable for any PSTN implementation, wherein you have large volume of traffic, and this needs to be switched in real time. So therefore, your circuit switching, optical circuit switching, it has become a term that covers network architecture based on two-way reservation. So you have a reservation between the source and the destination, and then an acknowledgement also from the receiver. So there are different networks which use the OCS concept, the circuit switching concept, and this brings optical network services directly from long haul to business or residential customers. Uh, the disadvantage obviously is that it cannot handle bursty traffic, this traffic which comes at any particular time. It is more of a static kind of network, and the traffic conditions are set if they are sent in bursts at different times, different lengths. Then this kind of a circuit switching network is not useful. So an active user, using the internet speed at the peak times, let's say office hours, and requiring large bandwidth. And when this kind of a user is sending bursty data, then the circuit switching strategy is not very helpful. It basically will waste the bandwidth. So bursty traffic basically can be handled much better if you are using a packet switching network or a burst switching network, which we will be discussing later. So we'll move to the optical packet switching network. So packet switching is much better than the circuit switching, in the sense that the available bandwidth can be used more efficiently. So in optical packet switch network, data is transported in the optical domain without any optoelectrical conversion. So you can also imagine that the delay in sending the signals is also lesser, because signal need not be converted into the electrical form. So the packet switch performs four functions. These will be routing, forwarding, switching, and buffering. And this routing function will provide connectivity to pre-allocated tables if you are using table-based routing algorithm. And forwarding will basically define the output for each incoming packet, and this will depend on the table which has been constructed. The switching part, the switch will direct the packet to the correct output, and this will be the forwarding process. And buffering will store the large amount of data for the packets, and it will also help us in resolving any contention problems which will occur during the packet transmission. So these four strategies have to be followed in the optical packet switch network. So the diagram is showing you an optical packet switched network format. This is a typical packet. It will contain a header or a label and payload, which is the data. And the header basically is a standard low bitrate format header or label, whereas the payload bitrate and format will be agreed between the source and the destination routers. Uh, Very important, what you can see in the diagram is that between the header or label and payload, that is data, there is adequate amount of guard point. This can be seen in two ways. One is it will help in the header and data not being corrupted, not being interfered. In the other way, if you want to see, this will be a waste of bandwidth. So there is a trade-off. Okay? The label points to an entry. the table which has been constructed using the routing algorithm specifies to where the packet should be forwarded. Means they will be having the than any traditional routing method with the shortest path routing algorithm, where each packet is examined before forwarding the units. Right. So this is basically what happens with even the electrical packet switching. The same applies here. The only difference is that the channel which we are using, the BDF. Uh, However, this can be done properly if you are using a good routing algorithm. Shortest path, just for your information, is not the most efficient routing algorithm. There are much better algorithms. However, the shortest path will be the lowest duration algorithm. Therefore, that is the one that is preferred. Table-based algorithms like Bellman Fold or shortest path, these are also useful and require a large amount of free. Therefore, these kind of algorithms also depend on the application which we are having. So we need to have much better algorithms and, for the routing, and then we need to also have in the optical networks much better algorithms for wavelength assignment because the wavelength needs to be assigned properly. I've already explained you the kind of wavelength assignment technologies or strategies which can be used. The most popular one is the first fit. So if you have about 10 wavelengths, then between all those wavelengths, we choose the uh, first one which is available. So let's say lambda 1, 2, and 3 are being used, and lambda 4 is the first one which is available. Then we go ahead and uh, use the one which is available. So, so that is the whole idea of using the wavelength assignment. There can also be random switching. It can also be random wavelength assignment where you can have the wavelength. Let's say if there are 10 wavelengths, then a random wavelength from all those wavelengths can be assigned. So this is an efficient technique because you are not you're not prefixing any kind of wavelength which is being assigned. There's also best fit. There's also last fit. But which one to use will depend on the kind of application which we are doing. But currently, the most popular one used and very simple one used is the first fit wavelength assignment. And the routing which is used is again the shortest path routing. There are different kinds of shortest path routings that we have. And in computer communication networks, you would have come across the most basic one, which is known as the K shortest path, where K is having some integer value, let's say 3, 4, or 5. And based on these, we can have as many number of paths that we have. The larger the number of paths, the more difficult it will become for us to find the path, that is the algorithm to find the path. Therefore, it depends on the application which we are using or the application for which we are working to use the appropriate kind of routing algorithm and wavelength assignment algorithm. So, chick networks is very simple. Uh, you need to have an address. Lookup. However, this can be replaced by address matching uh, using optical correlators. And these correlators were done in module 4. And, uh, and these are switching devices which employ, these to perform optical pattern recognition, similar to this from a lookup table. Assigned for a particular switch by correlating the address encoded into the packet with the switch's own address. However, if there is a mismatch, the payload is extracted and then it will be processed. And otherwise, if on the other end, the packet to the next switch. So this is something which happens in the process of optical packet switching. The optical correlators will be the most important ones because the address matching occurs because of the optical correlator. They are able to correlate here. And these correlators basically are switching devices, and they employ some kind of logic gate, and then they will be able to detect the address from any lookup table. However, this lookup table will require some kind of buffering, so that is the disadvantage here. And then the address lookup will know the address is specified properly, or it is not specified properly. So inefficient, or it has a different kind of address.